everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Day 4 on BTL with Frank SCALISH. And Frank, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm down south, and I'm a little chilly.
We'll get into that. Well, we have a second guest today, a man that is very active on the chat, on the YouTube chat, Frank Jr. What's up, Jr.?
What's going on, guys?
So, all right, man, I got to ask the question already. Who's kicking whose butt right now?
What's that mean?
Yeah,
I'm just taking it easy on the old man, you know?
Oh, respecting the elders.
Oh, thank
Yes, sir.
God. I appreciate it.
All right, so Frank and Frank Jr., they are live from Lake Norman. And how's it going so far, Frank?
Well, I mean, it's not as good this time of year as it normally is. We're catching fish. We're not catching tons of them. I'm getting some nice big spots. When I do find the right place, I catch a nice good spot, like, 3 to 4 pound plus spotted bass. I love coming down here, and I don't come down here to chase largemouth. I come down here to catch spotted bass. Mm-hmm. And this lake is real funky because if you're in the wrong section of the lake, you're not going to catch them. This lake goes off in sections. And so when we first got here, the weather was pretty bad, really. Very cold, windy, and rain. We started out a little bit slower, but the more time we're spending here, the more fish we're catching, which is typical,
Yeah. What's the water temp?
Upper lake or lower lake, we're getting 51. We had 49 when we first got here. Now it's 51, 52. Towards the river, it's a little bit warmer. Yesterday, we found some 54, 55 stuff. But the sun came out yesterday afternoon, so that helped a little bit.
All right, today you've got sunny skies. It should be a lot better today, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's going to be better today and tomorrow. And then, as fate always has it, every time we come down here, the day we leave, this lake goes off. I mean, it's just like, this is the first time in 3 years we're not down here filming and working. So we decided that we're not going to kill ourselves. I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to play that high end fishing game. We're really chilling. I mean, truthfully, so
that's cool. That's cool. What can you tell the fans that you're really trying to focus on from a tactic standpoint, from a lure standpoint, with that kind of water temperature, trying to go out and catch those massive spots?
Well, traditionally the crankbait bite is really good right now. I'm catching them. We're actually catching them on right now. We're catching them on Norman Middle Ends, Cordell Big O, C77, Flex 2, Booyah Flex 2. If you're lucky enough to find any, the Booyah Flex 2. We're catching them on 6.5-inch finesse worms, deeper stuff, 6.5-inch finesse worms. I haven't been able to get a Carolina rig bite going. I think it's a little too soon for that, or at least I'm not in the right areas for it. But shaky heads, slip sinker rigs, that kind of stuff right now.
Yeah. What's the water clarity like?
Towards the dam, very clear. Towards the river, a little off color. The farther up the river you go, the dirtier the water gets.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, I'm staying away from largemouth, and it's bumming me out a little bit because the largemouth in the dirtier water will be biting. But like I said, man, I came down here to catch spotted bass.
Come on, Junior. Do you not want to just say, come on, Dad, let's just go try and catch some largemouth for an hour or two?
No, no chance, man. I want to catch the spots for sure. We got largemouth at home.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true.
Yeah. What's your PB on that lake, Frank, for a spotted bass?
4.5 pound spots. I catch a lot of 3-pounders. Traditionally, I catch a real lot of 3-pounders. This trip, the biggest one, this trip is over 4. Largemouth here, the biggest largemouth I've caught here is about 4. Nothing giant.
Yeah. What about you, Junior?
Here is close to 3. Caught it last year.
Yeah.
I've been getting all the little ones out of the way for him so he can keep catching the big ones.
Hey, that's the way I like it.
Hey, there's no trash talking, is there? Zero.
No.
Oh, please. Please. The funny thing is like I would rather catch 10 good ones than 30 little ones.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not in a tournament.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure stuff out little by little.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, I want to do this, all right? Does he give you the front of the boat, Frank Jr.? At any time? I'm just curious.
Only when he's retying.
That's it?
No, sometimes he'll do it. He'll just say, "Get up there, go ahead." And then it'll be, "No, move the boat over here a little bit. Move the boat over there a little bit." All right, let me have it back.
Yeah, I'm not stingy with it, but
no, you're not.
I'm stingy with it.
All right, man. We have all these guys on this show, and they talk about, how to react to what the conditions are. And Ike has been famous for saying, listen to what the fish are telling you.
Yeah.
And react. So I ask you the question right now, based upon the weather conditions and the adversity that you guys are going through, what are they telling you right now, Frank?
Well, I know for a fact that I can run the back of pockets and catch fish. I know for a fact I can because we did it all day yesterday.
Okay.
The problem is I'm not coming into any size and I'm getting too many largemouth. Now, that's not a problem if you're fishing in a tournament and you need fish to catch. But for me, wanting to be down here to catch spotted bass, if I'm starting to catch too many largemouth, it's time for me to move.
Yeah.
The best spots we've been catching have been deep. Well, not super deep, but way deeper. Way deeper than we've been fishing yesterday.
Yeah. How much does color matter in these situations?
Color matters based on water clarity and the lake you're on. This lake, anything that's green or brown is good. It's really simple. Soft plastic wise, anything green or brown is. The irony of it is usually the red crankbaits tear it up right now. But I personally am catching more on minnow patterns right now, which is bizarre because we haven't been around a lot of bait. So, yeah, it's weird. This lake is so much fun to fish. It's so big. It's very diverse, but usually when we come down here early in the spring, I've got red, and hammer on them. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like they're throwing me a little curveball right now.
Yeah. What about the traffic on the lake? You got a lot of company?
It's not been bad during this week because the weather's been so different. It'll rain, it'll blow, it won't rain. And you know what I mean? It's been cold, and some of the mornings have been in the 30s. So like we launched the other day, not yesterday, the day before, and there was one trailer in the parking lot. And then conversely, Saturday when we got here and we launched, the parking lot was full. So, but we haven't really run into too many guys. There was a tournament here. They had a BFL here right before we got down here. I think they had 250 boats in it. 53rd place was 5 pounds. So that means, 200 guys caught less than 5 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been stingy, it's been stingy, but like I said, we're catching them. We're just I'm not catching them like I normally do here.
Yeah. Frank Jr., you spent a lot of time with your dad, obviously, shooting video and doing other things, and it's got to be just I call it a sponge situation where you are absorbing so much knowledge from your dad. Is there one story or one situation that you can share with us where you just sat back and went, wow, I can't believe he just did that, and your dad just absolutely just crushed him, and you learned something from that? Does anything stick out in your mind? Frank's laughing.
There's so many, Mark, honestly. When we're fishing and we're not filming, he'll just do things, and I'll look at him and I'll go, why? And he's like, what do you mean, why? This is happening, that's happening, so we obviously got to adjust to this. And I'm like, okay. And to try to remember all that's tough, but probably the most impressive thing is spending hours idling on Lake Erie, and it's just, you're sitting in the passenger seat, you're not the one who's staring at the graph, hunting, and I'm like, where are we going? What are we doing? And all of a sudden, he goes, oh, there they are, throws a buoy over the side, spins the boat around, he's like, all right, get ready. And then, bam, 4-pounder. And you're just like, how do you even know to look out here? We're in the middle of nowhere. It's wild, man.
Yeah, that's cool. He's looking for the glaciers.
Yeah,
right, Frank?
The glacier deposits.
So much time teaching and trying to teach me to understand structure and how fish relate to it, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of that. But Lake Erie is just completely different, and for me, that's still how did you figure this out? Especially back in the day.
Yeah, I know. With no GPS.
We're spoiled now with all the electronics we have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people on the instant feedback and a couple of comments on the YouTube comments want to know, Frank Jr., do you have any aspirations in fishing at a high level from a competitive standpoint?
Yeah, that's my life's goal. For sure. I want nothing more than to do that. At least take a swing.
Frank, what do you think about that, Dad?
I think it's great. If that's what he wants to do, you go after it with reckless abandon. For me to have any doubt or say, I don't know, think about how can I do that? I dropped everything. I had a family and I quit everything I was doing to fish full time. I made the supreme sacrifice at probably the most volatile time in my life with 4 little kids and a new house. And, I sat down with my wife and I said, hey, baby, I want to do this forever. So I'm going to give up the advertising world. And she looked at me and she said, go for it. And I was like, huh? Okay. Okay. See ya. But I think it's good. You gotta, here's my advice. You have to have all your ducks in a row. You have to have all your financial stuff figured out. And then when you set out to do it, you have to do it like it's all you're going to do for the rest of your life. You have to put 100% in it, nonstop, constantly, all the time, or there's no chance of survival in it. And that's how most professional sports go.
Yeah. Frank, let me ask you this. And I have been vocal about this subject matter on this show for a number of years. I've talked to Pete Glusick about this situation. Mm-hmm. By the way, Pete said hello. Talked to him last week.
He's a good dude.
There is nothing in existence that I know of that is, and I don't want to say a classroom setting because that kind of stereotypes it.
Yeah.
But there is nothing in existence that I'm aware of that truly teaches the young anglers what is necessary. Forget about the fishing part.
Right.
All right. Everybody knows, you go out and catch them, all right, and you catch them every single tournament, okay, you're going to do well. But that rarely happens. That's 1 in 10,000 guys that try to do it.
Probably higher.
There is not that educational base that truly teaches the young anglers, look, man, this is what you need to do. Not just on the water, but more of the off the water stuff that prepares these young anglers for the challenge of truly doing this for their career and on a full-time basis. I truly believe that is a necessity that needs to be involved in this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're 100% right. It's adversity and variables, okay? The more variables you can control, the better off you're gonna be both in the tournament game and traveling. And here, look, there's always unexpected when you travel, especially, it's not like golf. You throw your golf bags in an airplane, you hop on an airplane and you fly to Augusta. That's not how it is. You hook up your boat, you put half of the stuff you own in the bed of your truck and you drive somewhere and you're driving across the country. Well, there's a lot of things that can happen. Like when we did the stint, we did 2 in Texas, 2 in California, and then left California and did 2 in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I was gone for almost 4 months on the road, living in hotel to hotel. Well, when I went from Texas to California, I went through part of the desert, and with all the sand blowing and stuff like that, I threw 2 front end wheel bearings in the middle of nowhere. And then I had to find a car dealership that could help me out. And basically I was trapped. You know what I mean? So here I am. I'm traveling on a budget, and now I'm doing 2 front end bearings on my truck. And it's just like all that unexpected stuff. So you have to be prepared. I have my emergency stash of cash where if something goes wrong, it comes out of the emergency. Try not to ruin the budget type of thing. And then there's balancing your home life too. That's probably the hardest thing. Here's the hardest thing. As bad as I wanted to leave to fish tournaments, that's as bad as I wanted to be home the minute I left.
Yeah.
So you're torn between your family and your tournament game. And so the thing that I did, the thing that I practiced the most was the minute I leave home, I stop thinking about anything at home. I had to focus specifically on the events because you could spin out, dude. If your wife calls you up and, Josh fell down the steps and broke his arm or, whatever. And it's like, well, that's unfortunate, but I'm 800 miles from home.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's really hard. It's really hard. So you put 110% in it and you focus, and there's a lot of, that's half the battle, is to be able to separate your home life from your tournament life. And one's a job and one's not a job.
All right. I'm going to throw this comment up to where everybody can see it. Go for it. Just figure out how to keep the lights on. Dude, I
love it.
I mean, come on. Half the field out there probably does that, Frank.
They do. It's very factual. I've seen a lot of guys in my 11 or 12 years of doing it. They get in it, they're gung-ho, and they're gone before the first season's over. They run out of money and throw themselves in debt. They try to do it on credit cards, and you can't fish that way. You can't fish on scared money. You just can't do it.
Yeah. J-Rod, I'm going to throw this up because there's some discussion, and we got into a little bit of conversation yesterday about the college guys. Hang on, that's the wrong one. College is definitely adversity in and of itself. I was on a collegiate team in college, and managing your schoolwork plus if you work a regular job is very, very challenging. And I agree with that. And one of the comments that I made yesterday when we got into the college conversation, Frank, is I totally agree that, yes, it's time on the water. And I said time on the water is massively important when you're trying to make the next step. But it's a team format, and you're not learning what is necessary to perform on an individual basis. But more importantly, when you're in college and college fishing, the social aspect, and more importantly, the fact that you are going to get your degree is really the true reason why you're there in college. Bottom line, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my youngest son is in college and he's playing baseball. And unfortunately, he's a pitcher, and he just blew his elbow out, and now he needs Tommy John. So he's going to be out for a year, okay, from pitching again. But it's like I told him. I said, look, it's still your baseball team. You're still going to go there and be part of the team. And your main objective is an education. So you're going to go there and you're going to get your education. When your elbow heals and you could throw the ball again, then you could start playing baseball again. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's what you put in here that matters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes.
Here's another great comment. It's different when you have your own money on the line
Definitely.
and food and bills are on the table.
Make no mistakes about it. If you think that you're going to go and fish at a high level and say, all I got to do is, cash a check in every tournament. That'll be easy. They pay down 40th places. You're fooling yourself. I mean, you're fooling yourself. Here, look. If they pay 10 grand at 40th place, and it costs you $5,000 to enter the tournament, and then you're taxed on the 10 grand that you won, you got about $2,000 left, and that's less than your travel expenses for that event.
Yeah.
You're not breaking even. You're not paying bills at home. So I mean, it's impossible. You have to have good sponsorship money. Not here's my patch, give me some worms. You have to have money. You know what I mean? I'll tell you the funniest story, and I'm not going to mention names because I can't. But back in the day, like early on, I had a rod sponsor when I was fishing locally, and they gave me the fishing rods for free, which I appreciated. And when I moved into the opens and then to the elites, I said, hey, we got to talk about some money. You know what I mean? And they said, we're prepared to give you a dozen more rods. So I told them, I said, here, I'll agree to that. If you go to the bank and you convince the bank to take those rods for my mortgage, I'll do it. You know what I mean? And that's because, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the reality of the game we play. I mean, we're in it to make money. We do it because we love it. But we also want to make money doing it. It is a professional sport. So if you're not making money in your professional sport, then you probably need to think about another sport or another job.
Yeah.
That's harsh, I know.
Yeah. And even the guys that have had success, Frank, even in the vintage years, even in the good years, in the 90s and early 2000s, guys have struggled. And I call them the 10%ers. The 10% of the guys out there truly are earning a fantastic living, a six-figure, after expenses, taxes,
right,
and all that. I have to admit, I think you would be a great guy to kind of lead that conversation and that training on really trying to educate young anglers what to expect, how to manage their finances, how to attack and control the mental aspect of this game. And I'm going to preach and preach and preach until hopefully before I die, there's an organization out there or an individual that steps up and truly tries to educate the young anglers that want to do this professionally.
Yeah, look, the truth of the matter is I wasn't the greatest fisherman on the planet. I mean, I wasn't. But I sashayed my way through the media and through my sponsorships with my advertising background to build my sponsor dollars to a level that in the beginning of my career was one of the, not the highest, but I was probably in the top 15 or 20 of the best sponsored anglers.
You were.
And it wasn't because I was catching 1 million pounds of fish a tournament and knocking the doors off of everybody. It's because I understood that in order for me to get the sponsorship, I had to be of value to the company that was sponsoring me. Because at the end of the day, they're sponsoring you because you're an advertisement for them. So the bigger value you can be to them, the bigger your sponsorship dollars can be.
Yeah.
And that's the whole key to the game. I never went into a sponsor and said, "Yo, you should sponsor me because I could catch them." They look at you and they go, "Well, how is that going to get one customer in my door?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, so you could catch fish. How is that going to benefit me?
Yeah. And that's changed. It's changed too. I mean, the dynamic of how you represent the brand has evolved and developed because of technology and methods. And to methods to promote the brand and all that. I mean, we can have an entire, week of shows dedicated to that aspect. All right. All right, Frank Jr., I want to ask you this, man. Real quick, I want to touch on your game. What do you feel that you are really, really good at? What is your most confident method of catching fish?
I definitely happy when I can get offshore, throw Carolina rigs. Hey,
the apple doesn't far fall from the tree, dude.
Oh my gosh!
I know. I got some buddies watching, and a lot of people watching like to flip and pitch shallow. I hate fishing shallow. I'll do it. I don't mind doing it when they're there and it's fun. But if I had it my way, I would be offshore all the time. You're
not a flipper.
Oh, he flips good. Don't let him sell him short.
He just hates doing it.
Right.
I don't hate it. I don't hate any fishing, right?
Yeah.
But I prefer to be offshore.
Yeah.
What do you want? I've been being brainwashed by him for my whole life. Of course I like to be offshore.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, we were trying to think of the last tournament, and I forgot to ask Ken Duke this yesterday, that was actually won on a Carolina rig. Not the entire tournament, but had a big part in the success on any national tour where the Carolina rig was the primary pattern.
It was actually a long time ago, and it was a Texas lake, and I don't remember the guy who won it, which is crazy because it was a Bassmaster event. He was Carolina rigging an old roadbed, and he actually won the event. He slaughtered them, dude. In fact, on some of the old footage, he set up on one and broke his rod in half. It broke at the handle, and I'll never forget it. This was a while ago, and I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Carolina rig, wow. You know, and I don't think that was the last one. I mean, I've Champlain, I took second in Champlain, and part of it was Carolina rigging. A lot of it was, flipping jigs in the grass, but I caught a lot of them Carolina rigging too.
Well, I know Elias and a lot of the guys caught him on a Carolina rig when he broke the record at Falcon. I mean, they were deep cranking and throwing a big worm.
Right.
But there were a lot of guys out there that were Carolina rigging too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great technique. It's very underrated. It's very underrated.
It's just forgotten, man. People don't like doing it. There's too much other things to, you can't throw a Carolina. Well, I guess you could. That's another aspect with forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
Okay, they can forget about it. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. Please forget about it.
A couple of years ago in Ohio, Carolina rigging.
Oh, we crushed them too, man. God.
Yeah. All right, what do you need to improve on from your game standpoint?
My main focus every time I'm on the lake, especially when I'm with him and I can pick his brain, is just patterning fish, seasonal movements. The same thing most of us are trying to do on a daily basis on the lake. Probably not. I don't throw a chatterbait as much as I should, and I don't experiment super shallow all the time. As soon as the spawn's over, I'm starting to poke offshore. I kind of want to take some time and fish shallow and try to put that in my bag of tricks. So if it's not working out, I can go fish shallow and find fish in multiple places. So if anything happens during a tournament, I have backup fish and stuff like that.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. There was a question early in the show that I wanted to make sure I got in. It was for Kyle. Let's see here. I'm going to throw it up there. Please ask Frank if he has ever fished Lake Russell in South Carolina. If so, how would he break down all the standing timber on the lake? If not, how would he break down a lake that has a ton of standing timber in it?
Well, that's perfect because look, I've never fished Russell, but I've been on like Toledo Bend, Amistad, and Santee Cooper lakes that are just loaded with standing timber. So here's the first thing I do. I pretend the timber doesn't exist. Ignore it. And then go structure fishing. And then use your contours and your structure to find your fish. And then when you find your fish on that structure, the timber's a bonus. Because with so much standing timber in the lakes, okay, it's not a factor. The contours have become the factor. They'll use the timber in the places that they're using the structure. So that's what you want to focus on. And then you could break the lake down way easier because you're ignoring all that mass. Same thing with grass lakes that are just completely loaded with grass. I ignore the grass, concentrate on the structure. Then I find the fish that are in the grass on the appropriate structure. And that's the easiest way I could tell somebody how to do that.
All right, cool stuff. Yeah, one of the more memorable standing timber lakes that I've been around, here in the Midwest, lower South, is the Black Forest on Sam Rayburn.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's big time.
There's a reason they call it the forest.
Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm thrilled to death. I got that Frankie films for me. I have another photographer. His name is Joe. He does an outstanding job. He edits a lot of the stuff too. And here, when I fish tournaments, I was real fortunate because I met a lot of great people. Some non-boaters that I fished with, I'm still friends to this day and keep in close contact with them. And throughout time, you meet people that change you in some way. Us coming down here, we come down here all the time to film and to do work. And I fished a ton of tournaments on this lake. I met an individual the other day. He's a fan of the show. He watches the show. He reached out to Frankie on Facebook. This guy actually, brought my faith back to humanity because I honestly, this is the nicest human being and the most giving human being that I've ever met in my life. And he's legit. He's 100%. Real serious. He's real. He's sincere. He's not in it for anything. He is really sincere. So I had the opportunity to actually meet him a couple of days ago, and we had a blast. And you know what's funny? All we talked about was fishing and the stupid stuff we've done, and just a real normal guy. So this is my way of thanking him for everything. And I'm not going to mention his name because he's on your show, on the instant feedbacks all the time. But he'll know who he is. And this is my way of really saying thanks because he has to know how much this means to me, because I meet a lot of people, and some people that I meet really are not super nice. And this guy is just sincere as they come. And it's really important to me to let him know that.
All right. Very cool. Some people are saying last year, I think is when it was, Tom Mansour won on a Carolina rig at La Crosse.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. But major home field advantage there.
You'd think?
Slightly.
Just a tad.
Slight home field advantage there.
Yeah, that's something else.
All right. We could do a whole show on the Carolina rig, Frank, and we probably will in the future.
We are going to. Give it about another month. And then I'm going to cover it in detail because then it's going to be off. It's going to be on in a lot of places.
Yeah. Frank Jr., several people want to know, do you think you would like the 5-fish format better or the MLF style better?
I enjoy watching both, but I would prefer to fish 5-fish format.
Okay. Have you ever been in? Have you ever done those small events that they have? Using the cell phone and the app and all that and everything, where you count everything that you catch over a pound, 2 pounds, whatever the limit is.
No, I haven't tried that. I've always just fished 5 fish tournaments since I started.
Yeah. Do they have any of that up there, Frank Sr.?
Yeah, they do. They do. They're mostly charitable events, and they only do it a couple times a year.
Okay.
Guys love it. I mean, if I got to take pictures and measure every fish I catch, I'm out.
Yeah.
Too much technology for me, because when I'm catching them, I'm not stopping for nothing but to throw them in the live well.
That's funny. Hey, people are also saying that Jamie Hartman won on Champlain throwing a Carolina rig.
Yeah, that I believe. I absolutely destroy them on Champlain on the rig. Yeah, that I believe 100%.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
Nah, you go, man.
I forgot at the beginning of the show, and we'll get into some more stuff, but I have to do this with your thank you. I received an email, and for those people that may not be familiar, hopefully we have returning fans on here. Tomorrow and tomorrow night is a huge, huge night for me personally. We have a chance to achieve something that in the history of the school that I coach basketball at, in the 30-plus years that I've been coaching basketball, we have an opportunity to make it to the state tournament, and it's a big deal. And for those people that don't understand how difficult that is, it's almost like making the Bassmaster Classic. It really is. It's that difficult unless you just have this amazing, gifted group of Division I basketball players like Kingfisher. It becomes enormously difficult to make it to the state tournament. And I got an email from a fan, Frank. His name is Andrew, and he actually went to the state tournament here in Oklahoma back in 2008, and he played with a guy named Rodney Clark. And I don't know if there's any basketball fans out there that remember this dude. He went to Arkansas after he won a state championship at Verdigris. Went to Arkansas, then transferred his senior year, went to Butler, and was just an amazing player. And he sent me a very, very cool email that just wished me good luck, but also gave me a little bit of advice just as a coach and taking the part of you got to let things happen. And he's a fishing fan. He loves to fish, but at the same time, he's been through that stressful day of trying to make it to the state tournament. And that group of kids, it was multiple times that they had that stressful day. And it was really cool to get advice from somebody that has been through it, that is very familiar with the bass fishing world. So I just want to tell him thanks. That meant a lot. And the show on Monday, it's either going to be great or we're going to be a little depressed, because you just don't get opportunities like what we have tomorrow night. And it's a very winnable game, but we could get blown out of the gym too. You just never know. They're high school kids, but tomorrow is going to be a very, very special day. And I want to thank Andrew for sending that email to me. So we'll see what happens, Frank.
That's outstanding. You guys are going to be fine. Yeah. You guys are going to be fine. You just gotta shoot me off a text.
Oh, I will.
Like you did last time from the bus when everybody's jumping up and down, freaking out.
Yeah. There will definitely be a celebration that will go late into the night on Friday night if we get the W. All right.
I promise I'll be up.
Will you?
Yeah. I'll be up.
I might wake you up. I might actually call you, Frank.
If you guys win, you better. I'm not kidding. Friday night, I'll be up. I don't know what state I'll be in, but I'll be up.
Okay. I think the game is going to be live streamed, but I think you have to be a NFHS network member. It's like $15. You could get $15. You can get a 3-month pass or something like that. So, it is what it is. All right. The other thing I want to mention that I failed to mention, our man launched this morning, Frank. I'm talking about Matt, and we were texting last night, and he feels pretty good. He's got one really, really good area is what he told me. And then it's just going to be trying to pick off one here and there. But he said the water temp was almost 80 degrees. Crazy.
It'd be nice to be in shorts.
I know.
Florida's a crazy place because you could find an area that has fish and it's got a billion of them.
Yeah.
And you could find an area that has fish today and tomorrow they're gone. So Florida's a crazy place, but if he's got a place where he's got a number of, and he's sure there's numbers of fish there, it could hold for him. I mean, you could literally fish Florida in one area. So
yeah.
Fingers crossed for Matt the cat.
Yeah, and then obviously Bradley Hallman, has been a big part of what we're doing here at BTL and stuff. Yeah. So hopefully those guys will do well. We shall see what happens. Now, let me ask you this, Frank. From an experience standpoint, let's do both scenarios real quick and give the fans and myself your take on how to respond when you're in this situation. What happens and what should you do if you go out and you blow them out? You got a top 10 finish on day one, but in your mind, you feel like you're out of fish. What should you do?
Well, I learned a valuable lesson a while ago. I had a lot of fish going in an area, and I was very conservative. I caught 6 fish in about 7 minutes and had almost 24 pounds and left because I was saving them for the next day. Conditions changed, and the next day was no bueno. So I had to rely on other fish that I found. Fortunately for me, the other fish I found were stable and good, and I plowed them. But I have had some of my best tournaments when my first day fish, I ran out, and then I had to go practice during the event. So what happens is I don't spin out. When I catch my fish in the first day and I realize that I'm running out, and you'll know you're running out because you're not catching them anymore, or you're not catching the ones you need to catch anymore. I just practice during the tournament. I fish very free and unencumbered, and then usually things go well and I catch fish. So, but I would run back there the next day first to make sure that I just didn't get them all spooked up, and see if I could catch them. It's impossible to catch every one. You can't catch every one. So you might as well, if it's a good spot, I go back there the next day. If I'm not catching them, I will not die there. I'll pull up there, and if I know I should get bit right away and I don't start getting bit, I'll spend 20, 30 minutes and I'm out, and the rest of the day I'm looking for new fish.
All right, let's flip it. You went out, you have a sub 100 place finish. You're not really on anything. All right, mentally, you got one day. Mentally, what could people learn? And people kind of look. When you go out and you don't perform, you got to take notes on that, and you have to learn from that experience to where you don't make the same mistakes again. So what's the best thing to do? Obviously, depending on the lake and several other things. But in general, when you go out and you have a really crappy day on day one, what's the mental game when you get back to the hotel or wherever you're staying at? And typically, what's the best game plan to put together for the next day?
If I go out and I have a bad first day, I look at what I did the first day, and then I try to think about the seasonal pattern, what season I'm in, and where are these fish going to, where are they going to go to, or where are they coming from? And then I'll make my adjustments on the second day, but I'm not doing what I did the first day. You can't do that because the first day didn't work out for you. If you were catching them in practice. If you weren't catching them in practice, then you're not on them to begin with.
Yeah.
But if I was getting them in practice and things change, then I got to understand what happened. Like for example, I was on this one tournament on Lake Erie, and I was catching fish real shallow in practice. I mean, sight fishing them in the middle of summer. And all the boat traffic, all the tournament pressure blew those fish out of the areas that they were in. And I wound up coming in with 10.5 pounds the first day, which is like on Lake Erie, you might as well go home because you have no chance. So I'm like, okay, well, obviously the shallow bite is gone, but in practice, I never caught a fish deep, which is why I went shallow. And so during the tournament, I said, I'm just going to go out and look for fish, and I'm not stopping my boat till I find them. I went to the same general area where I was catching all those fish super shallow and started working my way deeper and deeper, not fishing, looking on my locator. My non-boater was getting testy, to say the least, because I had been idling around for a half hour, and we haven't even made a cast yet. So yes, this is true. So sure enough, I get out in about 22, 23 feet of water, maybe a little more. And I found something, and I saw fish on it. So I threw a buoy, spun the boat around, 4-pounder. So then I looked around, I found a half a dozen more things out there, and I came in with a nice limit of fish, and I went from 86th place the first day to 14th on the second day. So now I knew I had something going.
Yeah.
The third day I ran back out there and looked around some more and caught them again, and wound up coming from 86th place to 4th in a Bassmaster event.
Wow.
Because I didn't give up. I didn't spin out. I just knew that what I did the first day was way wrong. And so I had to make corrections, knowing that the fish were actually supposed to be offshore in August or whenever it was, August or July. Then I said, okay, my second day, I got to go back to where they're supposed to be and start looking. And so I practiced during the tournament. And that's
interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's really cool. And the funny thing is, I caught them all drop shotting a 4-inch yum dinger back then. That was my go-to drop shot bait.
Now,
it still is today, actually.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this situation, if you've ever fished a multi-day tournament, people out there that are listening, I'm sure it has happened. It's happened to me. I know Matt and I have had this conversation where you have a really good practice. You find 2 or 3 different areas, obviously depending upon the time of year, but we're talking in general here. You have a solid practice, and you go out on day 1, and they're gone. They're just not there. Everybody has been through that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Is it better, and once again, depending on the time of the year, is it better to at least go back and check that area, or do you scrap everything and just go out and go fishing?
Well, in that scenario, if it was offshore structure fishing, I would run back later and check it, because sometimes that offshore bite gets like that, where you pull up on a channel ledge or a hump out in the middle of the lake, and the fish aren't feeding there yet. Okay, they have feed times, and if you time it right, you hammer them all the time. Sometimes I've had structure fish where I'll have 10 places that I run, and I'll pull up on one and catch them. Then I go my rotation again, and I'll get on a different spot and catch them over there and do my rotation. So structure fishing's a little bit different like that. I can tell you, I was fishing a team tournament trail on Kerr Reservoir. My partner and I were absolutely mauling them on long points, way offshore, secondary points. It was coming into the springtime, and we were absolutely crashing them. We were throwing rattle baits and Carolina rigs, and the first day of the tournament, we run to the first spot. We catch a 5-pounder, and we're like, yes, it's happening. And we ran to a dozen other places, never got another bite, ran out of time because we thought, because we caught the first 5-pounder there, that this pattern was going to hold up, and conditions changed, and maybe we needed to run more of those fingers, those long fingers. The fish slid up into the deep gut pockets with the timber, and the guys that were flipping those shallow guts hammered them like we were not even on the same lake as these dudes. So in that, what we failed to do was we failed to realize that it was springtime, and the fish were wanting to go shallow. They weren't wanting to come out. And when we had found them in practice, they were staging up there to go in, and it was a dumb mistake. But this was years ago. This was in the very beginning of my fishing stuff. So that taught me the biggest lesson ever about understanding where the fish want to go. That's the whole key to this, is understanding where they want to go, because then you could go and follow their movements. So, I mean, that was the biggest lesson.
All right, a question for both of you. All right, we're going to start with the old guy first, and then I'm going to go to Junior.
Where's my cane?
Hey, age before stupidity, right, Mark?
Yeah. All right. Do you think sometimes, Frank, that people try to complicate this game too much, and they don't realize that if they kept it much, much more simple, that they would have more success? What are your thoughts?
100%, 1,000% correct. Sometimes you just got to dumb it down. It's only a bass. If it's spring, they're going to the bank. If it's after the spawn, they're going out. I mean, it's not complicated. In the fall, they're following the bait. I mean, we're really simplifying it that way, but you're 100% accurate in your statement.
All right, Junior?
Yeah, I'm guilty of that sometimes. If I'm going out, you're fishing and you're practicing or just fun fishing and you're not catching them, then the wheels start spinning out, man. You're like, okay, well, I don't understand this. They should be here. They should be eating this. And then they're not. And then next thing you know, you're tying on stuff you've never thrown that time of year. And halfway through the day, you sit down and you go, okay, let me eat. Okay, what are we doing? And then you reset, and then it all becomes clear again. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to overcomplicate in this game. Bass are the variable that always change. Fish, it's not like fixing a car. There are procedures and steps to replace a wheel bearing, right? Well, there are no procedures and steps, just guidelines when it's fishing. Everything changes on a dime.
Yeah, the bass will trick you sometimes. They fool you.
Yeah.
But
that's their job.
It is their job. It's their job to survive.
Yeah.
But you called me an old man. You called me an old timer.
Yeah.
So I have something here. Speaking about old, does anybody remember the P70 Popar? Dude, this is a giant. For those in the audience that don't know what this is, it's a giant sized Popar, and when we used to get them back in the day, we'd make a few small modifications on them, and it actually came from the guys in Tennessee perfected this. You could throw that thing into a pile of brush, inside the cracks, not on the tree, but in the brush, and you can pop it, and it would lunge forward and then sit back, lunge forward and sit back, and you could keep it in a small area for several pops. Okay, and you would these fish would explode out of these bush tops to get this thing. You could do the same thing with grass pockets. And the cool thing about it was when you balance the bait out properly, you could walk the dog with it like a super spook. Mm-hmm. So it was such a niche that I guess it didn't sell very well. So it came off the market. Well, Rebel brought it back, which excited the heck out of me because all the modifications that we used to make are made to this bait. and it's not the P70 anymore. It's called the P71. For anybody looking for this, it's called the P71. And here's the unique thing about it: it's tail weighted, so it'll fall back, so you can pop it, fall back, pop it, and keep it in one spot. It's got excellent hardware on it, and they put tail feathers. I have one. I got one, and here it is. Whoa, there it is.
Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can blow it up here.
All right,
there we go.
Oh yeah, that's good. And you can see it. It's modified now. It's got the tail weight in it. So if I hold it like this, oops, fumble. So it's got the tail weight in it. So when you pop it, it lunges forward and then goes back. Lunges forward and goes back. Well, here's the other thing. They tied the tail feathers on it, and look at how beautiful and transparent those feathers are. This is exactly how I tie my tail feathers. I want them incredibly translucent, so the little bit of flash material that's in them flashes through. This is like spectacular, and they got these special hooks on them. They're razor sharp hooks, and they're super thin wire, but they're super strong. You can't even flex them out. They're super strong, but the thin wire penetrates easy. So when the fish comes up and grabs it, it immediately gets hooked, which is what you need, especially if you're popping it around heavy cover. This is probably one of the most exciting things in a long time to come out for us old timers that used to actually fish this thing a lot. So I'm really excited. It's the Rebel P71, and they are available today. In fact, I think they just came out yesterday. So this is really, I'm excited about it. I have this one with me, and we're nowhere near a topwater bite.
Yeah. So for all you folks out there in Florida, there you have it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And they're available. So I'm excited about it. You know, it's fun. It's fun to see lures that were so good that went away come back.
Yeah.
Because it was a very effective tool, and I don't think back then people understood it. And now that this thing is so super tweaked out, it's so dynamite. I can't wait to start fishing it.
When did the P70 come out? Do you remember, Frank?
I don't recall the exact year. I mean, I'm sure Ken would know, but I don't know. It's an old time bait, and I know some of the guys in Tennessee, they made the bait famous.
Yeah.
They did. And I hung out with a dude from down there who doesn't fish anymore, at least not competitively. And he's the one who showed me and how to modify them and how to tweak them out. And I did all that. And I had a special little stash of them. Actually, you know, the truth is I only had 4 of them. And but you never lose them. They float. You know what I mean? So you never really lose them.
Yeah.
And when they said they were bringing this thing back, I was like, yeah, we'll see. Because you know how it is. We'll see. And then it came back, and I got my hands on one, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is the way we made them. You know what I mean? So it's awesome.
I have 4 on the rack over there. 4.
Dude, outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said they were going between $70 and $90 on eBay. I had no idea. I'm not going to sell them, but I had no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens. They get sought after, you know. Well, now the new ones probably won't change the value of your originals, but the new ones are
$7.99.
They're spectacular. I mean, they are right on the money.
$80.
Yeah.
So
that's badass. That is really, really cool. Very, very cool.
Excited.
So, and they can get those now on LureNet?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
You know what's funny is I checked this morning because I'm like, I gotta order some right now. So I checked this morning. So I got some more coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, man, there is a fan on the YouTube comments. His name is Albert. Albert, shoot me an email with your contact info. I want to talk to you about an email that you sent me. All right, it has to do with live streaming. So please give me a call or send me an email, mark@bassone.com. I saw his name pop up, and I was like, oh, man, I got to do that. The other thing is I have a stack of emails that I'm going to try and go through and get through some this afternoon before practice. But, folks, I am very, very stringent on trying to respond to all the emails that everybody sends. I send Frank some. Frank responds right back. So I think if you guys are going to take the time to ask us questions, me personally, I'm going to do everything I can to get back to you. So greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, my Instagram page, there's been a lot of guys messaging on it, and I respond to them as fast as I can. Sometimes if I'm, obviously if I'm in the boat, I'm not responding till I get off the water. But generally speaking, it's within a day. Yeah. Because Frank Jr. says, Dad, you got another thing. You better answer that guy.
Yeah, keep him honest.
Yeah, he keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. Junior, do you and your dad fish any team tournaments?
Not specifically, no.
We did one.
We did. We fished that Milton tournament a couple years ago, throwing sea rigs. But no. Yeah, my schedule's full with work and filming for him. So, but I'll take a day on the water with him over suffering by myself.
Rather, misery likes company.
Hey, it's a free education,
Yeah, misery likes company.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, a couple of questions about the ice breaking up on some of the lakes. When is the best time to hit the water once the ice breaks?
Whenever you can, really. We break ice all the time up where we live, both pre-winter and post-winter. Like breaking ice is good if there's open water in the areas you need to be at. But breaking ice just to get to the middle of nowhere is a waste of time. So if you know generally the location where the fish have to be, and you see it's open over there, but you got to crack 400 yards of ice to get out, then crack the ice and go, because it's worth it.
All right, there you have it. By the way, some people were asking, hey, Mark, does Panger put in his weight on Bass Track? And the answer is probably not. All right, probably not. I mean, Bass Track is great, but I think, honestly, if they don't have cell service issues, in my opinion, that should be part of the gig. In other words, if they do it via your cell phone or a cell phone or your co-angler or whatever it is, whatever the situation is, in my opinion, I truly believe that you need to inform the fans. Even if it's an open, you got to let people know what you got.
Yeah, I mean, because this media is immediate, and people follow you because they want to know things. So if you respond to that, it keeps everybody engaged equally.
Yeah. You know what, Frank? Sucking is part of the gig.
Been there,
it's just
done
part
that.
of it.
Done that.
And Matt, he busts my chops sometimes because I'm all about the negative, but I'm one of those guys that, you know what, if you fail, you're going to learn from that.
Oh, you 100%. Better learn from it. That's the thing. You know what's funny? It's like I've done terrible in some events. And after the event's over and you get off the stage, you got your brains kicked in. You're embarrassed, it. And then you get off the stage and there's fans there, and they don't care that you didn't catch them. They want to talk to you. They want an autograph or something. And then the news media, well, the media, not news media, but the media is there, and they want you to come and, talk to them, about whatever. And I always did it. No matter how bad I felt, no matter how terrible the event went, I always did it, and did it with a smile, because that's part of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's part of the game. And then conversely, I've seen some guys kick things, pout, moan, blow past the fans, blow past the media, put their head down and go away. And then they wonder why they can't get any sponsorship or any publicity or any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, here, look, you guys had a heck of a season in basketball. You're about to have a better end to your season. Okay. So let's just say that everything goes great. You guys win, you blow them out, or maybe you win by a point. It doesn't matter. You win the game. You're all happy. Everybody's happy. It's real easy to have good character when everything's going in your favor. But if something goes awry and you don't win the game, okay, does that mean that your character should also be bad? No, because a true test of a man's character is not when everything is going well for them. It's when everything is going wrong. That's when you see the true mettle of a man.
You're dead on, man. Dead on. Clay mentioned on the comments, it's a waste of time. It takes too long to enter fish. Look, everybody, unless it is a rarity where you're staying on this one spot for 8 hours, everybody takes a break, either driving to another spot or it takes 30 seconds to enter those weights. I don't think anybody out there is going to feel bad about wasting or utilizing 30 seconds of their day to enter the weights. It's just part of the game now, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, just when you're going through a no wake zone.
Or something, yeah.
Just catch up. Go, yeah, okay, I got 18 pounds. Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just think in this day and age and the engagement that the fans have with the people that are fishing, be it AAA, be it the top-tier tours, if they're offering that feature, they should abide by it. Now, if they're not catching fish, obviously they're not going to put anything in. Yeah. But, somebody made the comment right now, it's almost 10 o'clock or just past 9:30 here Central Time in the morning, and you have 31 guys that have entered weights out of, I think they got 200 in the field, plus 200 plus. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
fact.
It's super easy. It doesn't take that much time. And once again, the dynamic of how the fans are engaged with the guys that are out there that are doing this has changed, and you have to adapt with change, Frank.
Yeah, and I'm not technologically savvy, so I would be like not entering a fish. Be like, SCALISH is blanking. I'd be like, okay,
Oh, jeez.
So it's funny that way. I don't know. I had when I fished that last classic I fished on Lay Lake, I had the first limit of the classic. I actually literally made 7 casts and had a limit. And my non-boater's like, "Oh my gosh, you got or my observer, the Marshall, he goes, "Oh my gosh, you got the first limit in the Bassmaster Classic." I'm like, "Cool." He goes, "Oh no." And I go, "What's wrong?" He goes, "We have no signal where we're at. I can't report it." And I'm like, "Well, how did you know that nobody else had a limit?" He goes, "Because I didn't lose the signal till just now." And I said, "Okay, so what? It's like 9 pounds. Who cares?" You know what I mean? He was all bent out of shape about it. I didn't care. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. I forgot to ask Ken Duke this yesterday. I could have Ken Duke on for an entire week and forget stuff to ask him that I want to know. But do you remember Basil Bacon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what I understand, and I need to do a little research on this, and maybe somebody out there knows this, but Ken was telling me, and we were talking about that he actually zeroed, and I don't know what year it was, zeroed on day 1 at the Bassmaster Classic and almost won. He finished second. Could not tell you what year it was. Do you remember that at all, Frank?
I don't remember the year at all. I don't even remember the lake.
Can you imagine that? Blanking on day 1 and almost winning the Bassmaster Classic. I just can't see that happening anymore.
That's almost a better story than the win. because I want to know what he did different.
Well, here's what I'm going to try and do. I actually got his contact info. You know, he's in his 80s now.
Yeah.
But he's still really, really alert and very active, very much at himself. I'm going to try to get him on the show to talk about that story, if that is what the case is. And I think it was. I think Ken is the one that told me that, but I can't remember. But how cool is that to blank on day one and almost win the Bassmaster Classic?
It's a monumental achievement, dude.
That's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, Junior, it's this kind of stuff that a lot of the younger anglers just don't know. And I think that needs to be entrenched in the historical aspect of events that have taken place that have really impacted things from a fan perspective that the younger generation just doesn't know about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong there. I love listening to Ken talk. He's a wealth of information. It's unreal.
Yeah.
He just knows everything about the history of the sport.
Somebody is telling me on the comments it was 1979.
Wow.
Makes sense.
That's why I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I ask, how old are you? Can you say?
Yeah, I'm 31.
Okay. All right.
I had him really young. I'm only 38.
No, you're not. Jeez.
I know.
Were you filling out forms the other day for Social Security?
He just got his Buckeye card.
Is it not that time, Frank, already?
Oh, no, it's not.
Next year he's going to have an AARP sweater on.
Don't do that to me. Not yet.
I always thought that would be a great sponsor for some of the older guys out on tour.
Yeah, that
AARP.
depends.
Sure,
It depends. Oh, Frank. Yeah, see what we have to look forward to there, Frank. It's not too far away, my friend.
No. Hey, in this cash for cash game,
Yeah.
I don't have time to relieve myself. That's why I depend on Depends.
Yeah, you're talking about entering Bass Track info. Hell, I don't even have time to take a pee.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
I can't even take credit for that joke. My buddy Troy said that.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that is epic right there. Wow, I could just see that commercial spot. That needs to be a spoof. That would be a great spoof.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'll film it.
I can do it.
Oh, great spoof there. All right, my friend. What's kind of the plan? I see the sun is shining bright. You're going to go out and you're going to continue trying to catch those big spots, right?
Oh yeah, I think we're going to go after spots. I know I can go catch some largemouth, but it's making me insane. I feel like if I go after them, I'm quitting.
Yeah, no, spots. Let's go.
But shoot, it's sun shining, but dude, I've been outside all morning. I am freezing.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm a winter guy, so it's like, holy smokes, man. We're supposed to be down south. It's supposed to be balmy and hot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dennis, now I remember it was on Lake Texoma that Basil Bacon did that.
And Texoma's a good structure lake.
Yeah.
It's a very good structure lake.
0 and almost won the Bassmaster Classic. So going to try and get Basil on. And then the other thing, Frank, I want to mention real quick that I'm working on, I'm trying to get an update. I have a contact. Somebody reached out to me. I have a contact to kind of update everybody on the Dancing with the Devil documentary. And it's taken a twist, dude. The story has taken a twist.
Listen.
Yeah.
I watched that. And I've actually met Bob.
Yeah.
And that documentary is a must watch. Even if you're not a fishing fan, you have to watch that, because it shows a turn of events that can take place in an individual's life in a blink of an eye and change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely the best piece of work that I've ever done, from a story, from a filming standpoint, the twists, the turns.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, it is from what I understand, and I'm working on doing this follow-up, it has taken another twist.
I can't even imagine.
Taking another twist. So hopefully very, very soon we'll be able to report and maybe do a little follow-up on the developments in Robert Hamilton Jr.'s life and what's going on now. But yeah, just an amazing story, and Frank's 100% right. Even if you're not a fishing fan, you need to watch this, because it's pretty amazing. His story is crazy, and some of the other stuff that takes place is just insane, man. It really is.
It is. I mean, it's just, it's life. I mean, it's everything. Like, there's a lot of life in this guy's existence. He's lived many different things in the time he's been alive. He's lived many different things and gone through many different experiences, and it all stems from one decision, from one thing.
Yeah, and when you think about it, Frank, there's 51 or 50 Bassmaster Classic trophies.
Yeah.
51, I think, was. Yeah. Or 50 or whatever the number is. I can't remember. There's only one trophy that is not in the hands of either the guy that won it or a family member. One. And that's a big part of this story too. So, you guys need to check it out. Definitely need to check that out. All right. We're going to wrap things up here. Junior, man, can't thank you enough for taking part in day 4 with your dad, and really appreciate the stuff that you do on the comments and all the support. And thanks for taking time out to be a part of the day 4 show, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. I love it. This is awesome.
I figured, since he was my fishing partner for this trip, that I would not let him sit in a room and watch from a chair, that I would get him on and have him participate in this extravaganza called BTL, since we're fishing every day this week.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you have time, let's see here. Do you know where the sports page is?
No,
any idea?
I know Google does.
I do not, but we could find it. What's the story?
Okay. Ty and Brian are saying, hey, come by and drinks on them.
Oh, look out.
Tonight.
That's what you wish for. Us military guys know how to put them back.
Yeah.
We're trained professionals.
That's right.
Let's see here. Yeah, it's called the sports page.
I got it. We're there.
All right. By the way, some people are asking, the documentary, if you go to basszone.com and click on the tab that says 20 Feet Deep, that is the documentary series. I think we've done 6 of them now, and we're working on our 7th documentary, hopefully in 2022.
Those are a lot of work.
Oh, dude, you have no idea.
Yeah, those are a ton of work, and they're done very well. Listen, I watched Dance with the Devil. You guys have to watch it. It'll open your eyes to so many things, and you'll get some emotion out of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Frank. Hey, man, go catch some fatties.
Spotted bass, here we come.
All right, next week you'll be back in Cleveland, right?
Yeah, back in the homestead.
Yeah, look at him, thumbs down. How many more days you got there? I know. How many more days, Frank? 2 more days.
Yeah, 2 more. And then
All
it's
right,
back
man.
to the grind.
All right, man. Great stuff today, you guys. Have fun on the water. And, folks, keep pulling for Matthew. Let's hope he does well today.
Fingers crossed.
We will be back on Monday, either with Matt, wherever he's going to be, or I'll have another special guest on Monday, and then Frank will be back on next Thursday. So, man, go Lions tomorrow night. Hopefully we get a W, and we're in the state tournament, and hopefully Matt and Brad have a great event in Florida. So you guys be safe, and we will talk next Thursday, Frank.
Everybody go fishing.
Yeah. Get out of here. All right, everybody. That's it. Good things happen on Friday. That's what I'm saying. I'm out of here.